Check this out, guys. We got a 2013 Raptor, what is it, YFM 125. Now, apparently they race this little guy, and what his big complaint about it is right now is that all of a sudden now, once it gets warm, it gets kind of boggy, and then the idle goes really, really high. This is a pretty cool little unit. They bought it just like this. I can't remember, he said if he lived in California is where he bought it at or not, but you can see it's got Alba Racing guards on the for the bead locks and the covers for the mud, full HMF exhaust, Nerf bars, bark busters, ODI grips on it. I need to go ahead and check the rear brakes on it, clean and lube the chain for him and adjust that. It's a little tight, and I was telling him about it, that with a tight chain like that, the suspension will bind up as it compresses. It's got the sprocket guard on it, it's got the skid plate on it, it's got a lot of things on it, man. So we're gonna jump into this thing and try to replicate his problems and then see what we can figure out from there. My guess might be carburetor and valves on this guy. So let's check it out. All right, so let's see if we can verify his problem. Let me get on this little guy. Oh, I didn't even notice he had those nice mounted bars. It's like vibration dampening and all that good stuff. There's the tether for the kill. Key on. Choke on. Fuel looks like it's on. Okay, fires right up. Oh, that was without choke. Oh yeah, he's right. Gave it a little gas and it's almost like it's hanging up. It's really interesting. Oh! So that's hanging up. So it could be a possible air leak, or the slide could be hanging up inside of here. Doesn't feel like he's got too much play in the, yeah, in the throttle. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's not the throttle, so we could possibly have an air leak somewhere. Let's let it drop back down. I mean, it's got a pretty good, it's got a good low idle. Ooh, clutch lever's a little bent. All right, well. Let's see if this thing gets boggy at all. Yeah, that's not cool. Like, I'm not even touching the gas and it's wanting to take off. Hear that? We need to solve that problem with the carburetor first before we can do anything else. Let's head to the shop, see what we can figure out with this. That's really interesting. Could be a mixture screw issue. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and put this thing in the air and we'll see what we can find. All right, so the first thing I see on here is that the carburetor, the sensor for the carburetor warmer is not on there, which is not honestly a big deal. We'll pop that back on there. I'm wondering if maybe the mixture screw has fallen out of this thing. I've seen that happen before. They rattle loose. Let's see if it's still in there or not. Feels like it's in there. Okay. And it's bottomed out. Turn that back up a little bit. Okay. Let's check that. That's quite a few turns out. It's quite a few turns out too. Let's try to fire it back up here. Let's check it again. could turn that thing way out. You wouldn't think, man, that's crazy. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 turns. Ha! 7.5 turns out. Let's start at 2. Let's start at 2. If I can find the notch again on the flathead. Okay, so we're right here. There's half. There's 1, half. There's 2. Fire it back up. Let's go out. Bump that up a touch. Let's see what's like with the throttle. Still hangs. Two and a half, 3. That's 4 turns. That's 4.5 turns. This should not be out that far. What's going on? I think that pilot jet, I think he said this thing was bored out. And I think that pilot jet's way incorrect for this carburetor. Four and a half turns so far. 5. Trying to figure out where so that's like, I don't know how many turns out. That's like 7 turns. But it still kind of hangs up. I think that pilot jet on this bad boy is way too small. Let's try to drop that idle just a pinch. Because you should only, at max, maybe be 3 turns out. You get more than that, then you're starting to have a pilot jet problem. I may have to order up 1 pilot jet, maybe 2 pilot jets, 1 pilot jet 2 sizes bigger, because that's way out. That is way out. See how it returns back to idle now like it should? So that might be his only problem. Listen to that. Got a little hesitation. Might be just a pinch rich on that. Let's try to go back in a little bit. Or it could be a little bit lean still. Let's come out. Okay, so that seems to be about the best spot for it to idle. But again, I know we're way too far out. Because initially, when you snap that throttle, you hear it drop back down just fine. It doesn't go below. It's got a little So, pilot jet definitely seems to be off. on this guy for sure. I will check the valve clearances here shortly. I'm gonna let this thing cool off first. I'm gonna clean and lube the chain on this guy. Clean and lube the chain on this. Back brakes looks like they're getting a little low. We'll let this cool down. I'll check the valve clearances, put it on top dead center, check the valve clearances, let you guys know what that is. I have to look at the service manual real quick, see what the valve clearances are, make sure those are good. Probably check his spark plug. Let's check his spark plug while we're here real quick, just to see what he's got in there, what it looks like. Because man, that thing's like 7 turns out, and they had it buried all the way in. Let's take a look at this spark plug. There goes my mixture screw adjuster. I mean, spark plug doesn't look horrible. A little toasty. It is a CR6 HSA. I'm gonna throw a new one in there anyways. I have them over here on a shelf. Not up here. Got one down here somewhere. CR7, CR6 HSA right here. We got that. Brand new. We'll throw this in there real quick. I'll set the gap when I go to check the valves. Make sure it's right according to the service manual. Again, I think he said this is supposedly bored out. I think it was this one. I don't remember. So let's throw this guy in here real quick, and I'll throw some anti-seize on those threads too here in a minute. Just want to see if this changes anything while we're sitting here. Most spark plugs about 17 Newton meters on tightness. All right, key was still on. Start button. Not quite as snappy as I want it to be. But a lot better than what it was. So again, let's let this thing cool off. We'll check the valve clearances again, and we'll see what that pilot jet on that carb is. All right, I don't know if you can see up there with the reflection from the doors be open. Spark plug gap is 24 thou to 28 thousandths, which is 0.6 to 0.7 millimeters. And then we'll go ahead and go down to, and you torque it down to 13 Newton meters. I said 17, 13. And the valve clearances here are gonna be on the intake is 0.08 millimeters through 0.12 mil, which transitions to 3 thou to almost 5 thou. And then exhaust is gonna be 0.10 through 0.14 millimeters, or 4 thou to 55 thou. So, or yeah, 0.005, almost 6 thousandths there. So that would be the valve clearances there. And when you can set TDC, just like they showed up there, and then you can go ahead and adjust from that. So again, hit up e-manuals online for all your service manual needs, guys. Use discount code LimitlessPower22 to save 22% at checkout. Helps the channel out, and I appreciate that. So I haven't had time to let this thing completely cool off yet, but I did put anti-seize on the spark plug and gapped it about 26 thou. And then we're gonna pull off the covers for the valves, check all that out and see what's going on. And then of course we'll go over here and we're gonna pull off this guy here, inspection covers here and here. We're gonna pull the spark plug back out and put it at TDC and check these valve clearances. All right, so we got the inspection covers off here. You can see that line here lines up with that little dimple right up top. And then that'll line up, I don't know if you can see in the case right here, there's a little line on the flywheel along with this spot on there. 17 millimeter here. You can double check your valve clearances there. Ooh, that one intake is definitely tight. And then, oh, I forgot my flashlight. If you want to make sure you're still at TDC for 100% sure, you can look inside your cylinder. I don't know if you guys can see it, but the piston is right here at top dead center. So again, it said the intake valves were what? Intake valves 3 thou to 5 thou. I'll set them at 4, and I'll set the exhaust at, this says 4 to 6, set them at 5. You know, I know it's 0.0039 through 0.0055, but I'll set it right in the middle at 5. And then I will set the intake at 4 thou, because it's really close to 3 thousandths and 5 thousandths. So, or you can set it at like 0.10 millimeters, and the exhaust at 0.12 millimeters if you want to. But that's what I'm going to do here, because right now there is zero play at all in the intake valve, and we do have a little bit on the exhaust. So I'm going to check those out real quick. My feeler gauges, again, I'll leave a link in the description for my feeler gauges. They're just a 14 blade lash gauge set. I got these off of Parts Unlimited years ago, but you can also get them on Amazon. I'll leave an Amazon link below so you guys can check that out. Once I get these adjusted, we'll see if that changes anything with the mixture screw. It could, because I'm having to richen it up a lot. Could be due to the fact that that intake valve is being held open and it's needing more fuel. It's sucking a lot of air and fuel, whatever. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about right now. But anyways, I want to get some play on that intake valve. And then, oh, also, I'll walk back over here. You guys seen these in multiple videos. These little guys right here. Valve lash guide set. These little valve gauges, or tools gauges. My gosh. These things, I'll leave a link in the description. Get these off of Amazon. One big square, one small square, and one flat blade. Work phenomenal for adjusting these things and holding them in place. So let me get these adjusted, put this back together, fire it up, and see if it changes anything. All right, so the intake valve had 0 clearance, and the exhaust valve had 3 thou clearance from what it should be. Now, I did find something else when I was just kind of checking some stuff out. Right here, I don't know if that's stock or what the story is, but that is smashed right here. That might be the way it's supposed to be ran. I would almost think not. It should go in there. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do on that. I might open that up and resolder those wires for, I'm pretty sure that's a crank trigger, or is that just a neutral light? That might be oil pressure or neutral. So I might just forget about that altogether and try to route it in here the way it's supposed to be, like this, because it was smashed between that and this cover right here. You can see where it was smashed in there, right here. It shouldn't be smashed in there like that. It should have ran up the backside through here. And I don't know if I even get anything in there now, but that's the way it should have been. Up through here, here, and right there. That'll be good enough. That'll take care of that. We'll put this back on. Hopefully we don't run into any more issues with that. That should, again, go back through here like this, through here. We'll run that backwards like so, and it should catch itself between that guy there, if I can get it to go in. Well, anyways, I'll do that off camera. No point in wasting your time on that. Put that back on. We'll fire it up and see if we have any change. Remember, when you have loose or tight valves, here's something to kind of consider. Your cam lobes have timing and duration and lift. So if they're too tight, the timing of the valve is now off a little bit from where it should be on the lobe of the lifter, or of the cam, and the duration means the time it should be open is actually off. So it's going to require probably different amounts of fuel and air, because again, that your cam, the way it rides, it determines how long the valve's open and how much lift it has and when it opens. So your valve clearances are too tight or too loose, it changes that a little bit. So let's fire this thing up and see if that made any significant change to our mixture screw. The possibility, key on over here, okay. Now I know it's probably gonna be a little more ticky on it just because the clearances are set. But it already seems like it's idling higher than what it was. Definitely a little slower than what I like. Now we could probably cure a little bit of that by bumping this idle up just a smidge. And let's check that mixture screw again. Let's actually shut it off. Let's see how far out we are actually right now. Okay, we're in right here, okay? So we have half, 1, half, 2, half, 3, half, 4, half, 5, half, 6, okay. Right at almost 6 turns. 6 turns out is double what it should be for sure. So we're gonna go back again. Half, 1, half, 2. We'll start there. Half, 3, half, 4, half, 5, half, 6, half, I'm listening to the motor right now, so I'm not talking much. Now you hear it drop. So right there is at pretty much the highest idle it has. It drops back down and it doesn't hang. That's a good sign, but let's see how many turns that is. I think we're probably about 5 turns out right now. This is the fun part of checking the mixture screw and trying to see. Okay, we're in there. Half, 1, half, 2, half, 3, half, 4, half, 4.5 turns out. A little further than I want to be. Half, 1, half, 2, half, 3, half, 4, and half. 4.5 turns out. We're going to play through it again a little bit. So right at 4.5 turns, and again, that's probably about a turn and a half further than I would like the mixture screw to be. I can talk to the customer and see what's going on with that, but I want to clean this chain. We'll take it for a ride. 4.5 turns out. It's just too much for this little guy. Maybe 2, 2.5, 1, 1.5 would be nice to be able to adjust it at. But clean this chain up, take it for a ride, and then I'll call my customer, talk to him, and see if he wants me to go in there and rejet this or not. So here's something else I had just found on this thing too. I was cleaning this chain. It definitely needs a little more slack than that. He's going to be racing like a GNC, cross country type stuff. That there isn't a lot of slack, but here's the problem. Watch this. That rear axle bearing starting to go out. Forward, up, down. Really, look at that, really bad. He also has almost no rear brakes. Definitely, like I said, the chain needs to be adjusted just a little bit looser. They thought the rule it's almost 3/4 of an inch, but not on this, because when you compress the suspension, now it's guitar string tight, and that puts a lot of torque on the output shaft, the rear axle bearings, and it makes the suspension bind up, so it's not working as it should, as it properly should. Now this looks like stock suspension, but still, you want the stock suspension to be working as well as it can. So I'm gonna go ahead and loosen this chain up a little bit more. I'm gonna call him and let him know about his rear axle bearings and the pilot jet on this thing. After, I'm gonna take it for a ride too before we do that. So let me loosen that chain, we'll take it for a ride, then I'll notify my customer of what I found. All right, so on the rear chain, we'll loosen these pinch bolts up. We slide into one of these guys here. You can see I kind of bent it up a little bit. I really don't care, I don't use this one very much for anything. To loosen the chain. Now it says you want at least 1.7 to 2.1 inches of slack, believe it or not. That is right about where we are at. So if we measure from the slackest point here on the top, okay, come up right at here, one, about two, we're about 1.5 inches, which is fine by me. And then we're going to torque these down to 21 Newton meters on the back. This will definitely help the suspension move a lot better. Shifting will feel better. It won't put such a bind on the axle nuts or axle bearings, not nuts. Suspension will work. No output shaft, no output shaft torque. Nothing weird like that. So a lot of good things are going to happen from putting the proper chain tension on this thing. "21, 21, back and forth, 21, 21. We're all good there. So let's go ahead and lower this down. Get off this flat jack here. That is so much better. So pull this out. Now, remember when I was pulling on that suspension, how guitar string tight that got? Now I pull on it. Look at that. It still has play. That's what we want. We don't want it to where it's just flopping around. Now I'm going to check it fully. We may be a little loose, but let's double check. From here, from there to there, from there, from one. Yeah, we're roughly 2.5. Can't believe that thing bent though, that's pretty crazy. So we got that adjusted. Carburetor semi-adjusted. You guys can see we went from like 6.5 turns out to 4.5 turns, getting those valves adjusted correctly. So I'm gonna lower this down, we'll roll it out the shop, we'll take it for a little ride and see how it feels. All right, let's fire this thing back up. Bam, just like that, perfect. Goes right back to idle. No more hanging idle. Let's roll this little guy out here. I wonder what his front brakes look like if his rear brakes look like that. All right. Clutch. Here we go. Actually, it feels pretty fun. Yeah, he definitely needs rear brakes. I can hear it grinding in. The fronts don't feel too bad. Let's see what happens. We get a little bit of a hole shot here. I'm too big to make it slide. Still a little boggy right there. Okay, it's hanging a little bit again. Let's go in the shop while it's hot, super hot from that crazy ride. Oh, did you hear that? Forgot my phone was down there, pushed it right off on top of my phone. That's funny. All right, so we're back in neutral. Let's grab my phone so I don't run it over again. Let's double check this chain tension now. Chain tension feels pretty good. I mean, axle may need to be a smidge tighter. Let me try to tighten that up a little bit because that sprocket side feels a little loose, a little wobbly. I think this one fits that. Nope, I think that's as tight as she's gonna get. I think she's just getting wore out. All right, well, let's grab my, spinning circles here. What do I do with this? Let's double check this. We're nice and toasty. You hear it drop back to 4.5. Four and a half, 4 3/4. Ooh, boggy. Boggy. Let's try something else here real quick. Let's try this. Let's try going in to 2.5. Half, 4. So half, 1, half, 2, half. Okay, there's 2.5. You just hear how everything's hanging, right? Three, 3.5, 4, 4.5. I know the top end sounds a little ticky, but they're set where they should be. It runs really, really well. I'd hate to tighten that clearance up anymore. Let's go give it a little bit more gas. May need to run the idle a pinch higher. We could be right there at that spot. And it should be just a, there we go. That was interesting. That's coming off of the All right guys, so here in this video, as I was editing it, I saw that I was having issues with my GoPro and it doing what it's supposed to as in filming things. I didn't realize that after I pulled off the bodywork on this Raptor right here that I was gonna take the carburetor out, talk to you guys about that. I'll have to watch a little bit more of the footage, but when I was editing it, I saw that it had me just with the carburetor open. So like something failed, something didn't film correctly, because I can't say the other word, otherwise this thing goes crazy. And so it shows me looking at the float height. The float height should be 13 millimeters, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do a few more things to the carburetor. I need to watch a little bit more of the edited part of this, editing it to see what else is missing. But again, I apologize for that. So let's get on with this 2013, I think it's a 13 Raptor 125 that's been bored out with runnability issues. Thanks, guys. $13 right here. Let's check that float height. Definitely not even close to being the right float height, so it's starving for fuel. It says hold the carburetor upside down, measure the distance from the front mating surface of the float chamber, O-ring removed, to the top of the float. And that's 13 millimeters. And that is nowhere close to where it needs to be. So that tab is definitely, I mean, shoo, that's got a lot of clearance. So that tab needs to be bent down significantly. Let's see if that made a huge difference. A little too much. Let's see if I can get in there with my pick and kind of bend that back up, drop it down a little. Looks pretty square. A little too much. Still not there. That is pretty damn close to 13 millimeters right there. From here to there. We are pretty much touching. So 13 millimeters there. 30, I need to see what the stock main jet is on, or stock jets are on these things, because it's not telling me. It says the enricher, diaphragm, blah, 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 blah. 2.5 turns. Standard pilot screw turns out for Australia and New Zealand's 2.5. We might be at just about the same. Let's check. Plunger. Yeah, so we got the float level set. We're at 4.5 out here. Where's my phone? Let's look up the jet size real quick. Carburetor. Let's see, we got 15 and 23 and 9. So let's go to 9 first. 9 says 22.5 and they're at a 30. Okay, I still think it's too small because I think it's been bored out. And then, what do we say, 23? 23 says it's 67.5, and I said, what was the main jet? Main jet was 15. Number 15, jet main. It doesn't tell me. That's interesting. Number 15. Jet main. Should tell me what that is. What size it is. And it does not. Now I know they're at a 130, what do we say? 132.5. And I'm not finding it on here. I'll have to look at another site, figure out what it is. Let me see if I can find what stock is. I know they bumped it up because they said this thing's supposed to be bored out. So let me find it. All right, so I stuck the bottom and back together. They have a bigger pilot jet. They have, because the 22.5 is the one that comes in here, and the main jet, I couldn't find the exact size, but it said, what did it say? The other one we have is a 132.5, is that what I said? Something like that. I want to check this needle. See if we maybe need to fatten that up a little bit. see where it's set at. So right now, it's just your stock standard, typical non-adjustable needle. Well, that sucks. I guess I could shim it up. Throw a shim underneath here, throw that underneath there, see if I can shim it up one notch. And it's got a, ooh, been rubbing on that guy for a hot minute or something. Boy, she's a little tore up on this side, or somebody tried to do something, but it's got a 5DH54, and I'm not sure what it is on, let's see what part says it is. That would be number, did they even show me? 2 needle. They won't tell me. It's a totally weird part number, so I have no idea what it's going to be. It's a 2PA1490J blah blah blah. All right, let me see if I can find a shim so I can shim up this needle one notch, make it a little richer right there, because it's bobbling and gurgling it right there coming off. So it's where it's coming off of the needle, coming off of the, well, the needle's pretty freaking wore on the side over here. Here is really wore a lot. You won't be able to see that on the camera. I'm pointing you guys straight down. Gee, McNitley's, the whole time I had you pointing straight down. It's really wore right here and right back over here. So I'm going to shim it up one and see if that makes a difference. All right, so now we got it shimmed up. I'm going to leave the body work off of this thing. Oh, yeah, I guess I really can't, because I need the ignition plugged in to start it. So I'll take that back. Let me throw the body work back on this thing real quick. Apparently they got a broken something. Oh yeah, they got a broken headlight here. The headlight mount's broke there. Not over there yet, but let me throw the body work back on it. I thought I could get away without it, but I forgot I don't have the key switch. So let me throw the body work on. We'll take it for another ride. All right guys, here we are 5 minutes later. Body work back on, get the seat on. Get that tucked down in there. Get that there. That needs to go up underneath there. And you need to go down in there, in there. And it's not wanting to lock. There we go. All right, let's fire it up real quick. Fuel's on. Key's now on. We'll let it warm up just a smidge. I did pull that needle up, so let's check the mixture screw another time. I don't know where I put anything. There's stuff everywhere from the carburetor and all this craziness. All right, so let's see what happens now. I got that needle up. Let's go in a little bit. Still crappy. Okay. Well, let's drop it down and take it for a little ride. See if it right where it comes off that pilot jet onto that main jet. Are we gonna make a difference? I don't know. He said it just started happening. Is that true? I don't know. The idle sounds pretty good right now. lifted up one shim. So remember, it was right where it was coming off of. Okay, that's third. That feels pretty good. But yet we're not quite hot yet, so we gotta get this thing hot again. Let's go rip it around a little bit. I think we got her nice and warm now. I would think. Let's get that pointed back this direction out of the way. All right, let's see if we got that hesitation still. That feels, oh yeah, that feels way better. Feels like it's pulling pretty good now. Right through it, no hesitation this time. We're nice with this fourth gear kind of loping. And it's picking up that throttle really well. Third gear. It's not bogging, it's not chugging, it's not kicking and bucking when I do that in that low gear. So fifth gear, wide open. It's not kicking and bucking, it's pulling through. So I think we got everything set pretty darn good. Now I know I overloaded it there. Well, guys, I think I'm gonna call that done. This little sucker runs pretty damn good. Just had to shim that needle up one shim. because right where it was coming off the pilot jet onto the needle on the slide, and in the main jet, all that, right where it's coming off the pilot onto the needle on the slide, it was hesitant, like it wasn't getting enough fuel. Again, they had the mixture screw turned all the way in. It is out 4.5. That's a little bit further than I would like. It may need to go bigger on the pilot, but I think we might just leave it where it's at for now. It starts right up, it runs really good, no hesitation. Now, if you overload it a lot, it does kind of bog when you do shift back down, but as soon as you get that cylinder not being so loaded up, because I had that thing held wide open 5th gear and we were just chugging along. I'm 265 pounds, 6'5", and a low 125. It's been bored out. That thing rips. That thing's a lot of freaking fun. Runs phenomenal. Chain has been cleaned. Carburetor has been checked out. Set the valve clearances. Set the mixture screw on it. Put a new spark plug in it. The air filter was clean and oiled. Everything else looks good. He does need back brakes, and the rear axle bearings are going out. I will let him know about that. So this thing, I'm gonna give him a call, tell him to come pick it up, take it for a ride before the 4th of July weekend so he can let me know what it feels like. And again, as always, I appreciate everybody subbing. I appreciate everyone giving me thumbs up, thumbs down, comments, leaving reviews on my Google page, on my Facebook business page. Guys, I really appreciate that. And if you haven't subbed, make sure you do. I post all kinds of different videos. Some people like them. Some people don't like the ones I post. Honestly, I just kind of do what I think might be interesting. Is going to be a fun job to do. I don't post, guys. I got a lot of stuff that comes in and out of the shop that you do not see, and my phone does not stop. I'm a very busy guy. I'm headed out this coming Wednesday. Today is Thursday before, the 25th of June. I head out to Washington for the race at the Ridge. 3 points behind in Superbike right now in the championship points lead, and we like the Ridge bike, works really well there. So wish us luck there. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a thumbs up. Again, hit up eManuals Online for all your service manuals, and use Limitless Power 22 at checkout to save yourself 22% at checkout. I have shirts for 25 shipped, hats for 30 shipped. I'm actually probably gonna run out of all my hats because I've been wearing them in the shop, getting them all nasty, because apparently nobody likes them. Nobody wants one. That's okay. I don't mind. It was something to try. If it didn't work, it was cool for my shop, cleaning my lens. Cool for my shop and to wear around town and everywhere I go. Find me on Facebook at Limitless Power Sports Service and Repair. You will eventually find me back on TikTok at some point. You can email me at limitlesspodsports78@gmail.com. Anything else? No. Hit up all my affiliate links down below for what I've used in all my videos. If I have them listed, helps the channel out, and all that good stuff. And thanks to all the companies who have come along and helped me out on my journey. Again, guys, I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll catch you on my next upload.